Hi everyone, welcome back to another video. My name is One of One, but you can call me Seven. And we have finally returned to Witch on the Holy Night. I'm really excited to keep going because last time we had just finished chapter 4 and Aoko had confirmed herself that she was in fact going to kill Sojiro, the one witness who saw her and Alice in the park the night prior. At least I think it was the night prior. And so she decided that she was going to see him in the land of dreams. I have no idea what that means. But the plot is picking up, and like with the other visual novels I've played, it's taken a minute, but we're finally getting there. So I'm pretty excited to see what's going on. But first, we have an in-between chapter to do. I was told by one of my commenters on one of these videos that the in-between chapters that are made available to us happen chronologically in accordance with the story, like right when they're revealed. So I believe we have a chapter chapter 1.5 between 1 and 2, and it's supposed to depict something that happens in between those chapters. So let's just go ahead and do that first before we keep moving forward. I really like that everything is a bookshelf. I think that's really cool. All of the chapters are like different books, one book here or multiple books. But yeah, I was right. We do have chapter 1.5, 7 Days of Spinning, volumes 1 through 4. So let's see what they have in store for us here. Right into it. Morning in the city moved incredibly fast. It made one wonder if it was even a morning at all, with people so bright-eyed and bushy-tailed. Are we with Sojiro? Are we with our boy? The unfamiliar roar that awoke him reminded him of a rock slide. The identity of the monster's sound was the engine of a motorcycle. Mr. Yoshida, his neighbor, was leaving for work. It was hard to determine when night ended and morning began here. The town's urbanization was synonymous with insomnia. Already? It's barely sunup yet. Where could Mr. Yoshida be going so early? He sluggishly lifted himself off of the floor. He caught himself starting to survey his surroundings out of habit before deciding better of it and made his way to the washroom. There, he poured himself a cup of water and slowly gulped it down. Having been relegated to well water until recently, he found the convenience pleasing. Pleased was definitely the word that best described how he felt. Civilization is all about erasing inconveniences through optimization, the reduction of labor in our daily lives. Mr. Koga had taught him that while the essentials were easier than ever to get our hands on, life itself was growing more and more complex. So too was it his duty to adjust to his new reality. As a distant relative of Sojiro's father, Mr. Koga had taken Sojiro in, even though the boy had been little more than a stranger in his life till that point. Mr. Koga had helped him get registered at school and find an apartment to lease, though he had insisted that Sojiro handle his residence card and register his change of address by himself, which is, I think, a really good idea. This series of procedures proved exceedingly difficult for Sojiro, but knowing that this was a part of his new city life, he did his best to complete them diligently. While they may have a reputation for being a stickler for the rules, city offices aren't all that bad. It was the first thing Sojiro learned after beginning his life in the city. 2 weeks had elapsed since he left the countryside. As uneasy as living alone made him feel, he felt he could make it work. It was not as if the people here spoke another language, and Mr. Koga was absolutely right about how practical the rules of the city were. Let's see, I guess this is interesting because it's gonna be like a sort of a slice of life portion for Sojiro because he has no conception of city living, much less urban living, because I bet a suburb would really surprise him too. Like, this is all so completely 100% foreign to him. And so I guess this is him getting adjusted to his new life in between the events of chapters 1 and 2. Sojiro continued down the hard but surprisingly walkable path. Before work, he jogged in the park to pass the time. Even exercise like this offered lessons for Sojiro to learn. Yeah, you have to walk around and see as much as possible, right? Absorb as much information. Each passing person was a new face to look at. The old man who greeted him, the young worker with his eyes on the ground, and the girl on the bench surrounded by birds. They were all unfamiliar sights to Sojiro. Unaccustomed to the city, he labored to understand its rules. Whether they were complex, simple, or completely meaningless, compared to mountain life, which only dealt with nature, city life left one with way too many options. One could argue that such an environment was toxic for Sojiro. His life was a string of unsettling moments. But amongst it all, there were rules that he sincerely admired. For one, that the city revolved around various forms of profit and loss. Oh, this guy's learning about capitalism, oh my god. The fact that one only needed money to get the bare essentials to survive the city was a comforting thought to Sojiro. I mean, it can be comforting or not comforting depending on your financial situation, but I can see where he's coming from, hard worker as he is. Yeah, here we go. Is this one of his? Oh, homie! Hey, not everything's that simple. Money's just a symbol. It's the other stuff that truly matters. Money ain't that different from those free shoulder massage coupons people hand out. And it's not like the Fuji buy with a 10,000 yen bill will turn out bogus. Look, money can't buy you happiness. You get me? Is that Kinomi on the name tag? Maybe. Hey, Jane. Are you for real? Man, I can't believe you right now. One day you're happy to break your back working a full day for a measly 4,000 yen. The next you're elbow deep in dirty dishes saying, it's all about the money. What's your major malfunction? No, I think that the current system is kind of amazing. To be honest, I never realized how limited bartering can be. Anyway, Kinomi, you're gonna drop that if you aren't careful. I like this guy. This guy seems like a homie. Unless I'm forgetting that we've met him already? I think we've met a fellow coworker already, and it might be him on the night when he went out to go, when Sojiro went out to do deliveries. And that was the night that Alice saw a cat, I think. But I don't think this guy goes to our school. I don't think he has the same hairstyle as anybody else. Always a big fan of the backwards baseball cap, but... Oh my god, got big eyes. That was close. I break any more. If I break any more, it'll be my head next. Thanks for the save. So, what did you want to talk to me about? It's money, isn't it? Exactly. I learned my lesson the hard way, but now I know that it's better to have more money than less. That's why I'd like to work even more than I am now. Are you for real? Dude, this guy's so Ryuji coded, for real. You already wash dishes like a machine. Didn't I just say how money can't buy happiness? Love can, but... Back right up. Why is the water so cold? Say, we should probably get paid more for washing dishes in the winter, huh? It's cold, all right, but nothing I can't handle. Mountain water is so cold it hurts. I didn't mean it was ice water, you hick. That thick skin of yours can be real annoying, you know that? Someone who couldn't even work a cash register 4 days ago, you sure got comfortable working for the man. I guess money really is everything. The power of capitalism ain't nothing to mess with. Hey, shut your bar-holes, part-timers. The door's right there if you want to quit. I don't have the cash to waste on deadbeats. The complaints and chopsticks flew at them like a storm. This mess of a Chinese restaurant manager was a stubborn man who was willing to let minors work for him and didn't shy from violence, even if it was directed at the son of a lifelong friend. Sojiro felt that this is what Sparta must have been. Oh my god. Look, he's angry. We need to work harder. Wow, your nose get any browner yet? Me, I'm trying to make the most of my teens. Whatever. Right. Been meaning to ask. Are you the type that likes to go out on late night strolls or more of a bicycle kind of guy? Not that it really matters, but... It's always late when I go home after the restaurant, but that's not what you're asking, is it? I'm not really into walking when it's late out. Why do you ask? Music? Music? Shut off? No reason, like you just moved here. Kind of weird question, but don't you think the town is dangerous? Not like the people are bad or nothing. But I mean, you know that we get 10 attacks like out of a slasher flick every year, right? And since they started, there's... What's a slasher? You don't know? It's like when a thief snatches someone's No. Bad example. More like someone's killing to see if they can get away with it. A bunch of dead people in the woods near the suburbs. Real gnarly. That's why you shouldn't go out too late. The park in Misaki Hills is a hotspot for the weird stuff. Haven't you heard about how they think the freak doing it is some chick with a sliced mouth? Nope. This is the first I've heard of a sliced mouth woman. Oh, a classic. This is a classic, I think what, Japanese, like, is that what, monogatari? Is that what that is? It's a horror story, or a folk tale anyway. Like I said, slasher film shit. They say her mouth extends all the way to her ears. It's pretty old school, kind of urban legend. Urban legend also a good way. Woman in a coat who asks, am I beautiful? In the dead of night, and you... Yeah. You can't say yes and you can't say no. You kind of have to give like a non-committal answer. If I've read something correctly somewhere, I can't remember. Intense chicks like that are a no-no. It's like something you'd see in an American comic book. Damn. That sounds really scary. Does she actually follow you home? They say she crawls in through a window, squeezes her way in like a cockroach. Oh, cockroach. Nice. Don't utter that word in this kitchen. I'm gonna kill you, you little turd. The back of Konomi's head exploded in pain with the impact of his boss's frying pan. Oh boy, this sure is against labor laws, and that definitely was a crime. Sojiro was reminded of just how dangerous this town could be. I'm
殺すってバカじゃねえの
gonna kill you, I'm gonna kill you. Yeah, right, I'd like to see him try. What kind of boss says that anyway? This is a restaurant, ain't it? Well, maybe calling it that is too much. Is your head okay, Kinomi?
ああ
There's nothing. People tell me I'm real tough, especially my head. Anyway, avoid the dark, okay? You look like a sitting duck.
ありがとう
Oh, well, thanks.
年間10人
By the way,
という
is
のは
10 victims per year a lot?
死んねえよ
Don't know. It probably isn't a lot, but it totally ain't a few either.
ま
The real scary shit is that they're still out there somewhere since they haven't been caught. He laughed cheerfully. Kinomi was probably trying to take the edge off of his story, but the noble intention of his laugh was completely lost on Sojiro. His friendly warning was equally futile. Sojiro was simply impressed that Kinomi was able to laugh it off. Oh god, he's so head empty. I love him and hate him. Oh god. On the way home, nobody ahead or behind, Sojiro proceeded through the dimly lit street when suddenly, he turned to face an improbable sound. Oh, ouch! Something stabbed him in the head and fell to the floor? What do you mean stabbed him in the head? He frowned. A small bird had apparently flown into the telephone pole before landing on his head. The starling cleaned itself off and flew. Well, I'm glad it's not dead. Jesus. The falling of the bird and its desperate escape thereafter was unlike anything he had experienced in his life up to now. Most of the townsfolk would have seen the incident as unlucky, ominous, or even sinister, but Sojiro just nodded and went about his business. Hell yeah. You must understand. What might have been a first for him was surely an everyday occurrence for these city folk. Okay, moving on to volume 2. Let's keep going. Oh, those look like cake balls? Like the ones you stick sticks in, and they're doughy on the inside, but they've got some kind of like chocolate on the outside or something. And we are in fact switching POVs again. Got some stuff from the arcade while on the way home from church. They're Isaya rice crackers. You want to share some? Hey, girly pop, it's good to see you. Her voice reverberated through the foyer, dyed in the colors of the setting sun. Oh, wow, what a description. It was after 5 in the afternoon when Alko, still in her school uniform, cheerfully returned home. Oh, look at her, guys. Oh, I missed her. She's great. She had finished her student council duties and attended her monthly meeting with the church. I forgot that she had a monthly meeting with the church. Something mage, right? Welcome back. I see that the meeting went as planned. The voice was coming from the second floor. In contrast with Alko and her boundless energy, a considerably calmer girl descended from above. There are some complaints, but all in all, it went well. Our problems are ours alone, so I decided not to get them involved. You okay with that, Alice? Yes, I'd ask for their help in a pinch, but they can't be trusted. We'll call on them to clean up the mess, as usual. Agreed. No one likes to have, to keep looking over their shoulder. We can't fully commit to this if we're worried about what's going on elsewhere. Well, I can, but you don't have time for that, do you, Alko? Tap tap. With the graceful sounds of her steps, Alice entered the foyer, and as she did, Alice's eyes were directed towards the skylight above. Very pretty. Oh, never mind. The glass is kind of dirty. I wanted to discuss that after today's business is concluded, that is. You're feeling okay? Don't be such a nag. I'm not stressed or anything. Today was pretty normal. Do I look that tired? Okay, so what did you do today? Oh, today's were a breeze as school activities went. At a glance, her school life might have seemed almost idyllic. Though the more she thought about it, some headache-inducing incidents may have stood out here and there. And with some sincere introspection, Alko might have recognized the signs of her own mental fatigue, but doing so would have further added to her stress. Oh, poor girl. Stop. Okay, enough about that. I didn't come home just to stress out over school. What were we learning about today? Mesmerize basics, right? Wish? Then let's get started. I feel like I could master anything today. Alko focused on shedding her anger and stress. Hey, good for you. And headed upstairs with gusto. I thought we were going to do it in your room. The formally dressed Alice nodded in slight dissatisfaction. Oh! The facial expressions in this game are also very good. Are we going to eat those rice crackers today or freshly baked treats? Time to eat. Yum yum. Share with the girlies. All right, so we're at the mansion. Seems pretty idyllic, yeah, that's the word I'd use. In the end, their lesson took place after Alice had her cup of tea. For an apprentice like Alko, Alice Konji was the kind of roommate and teacher that was hard to come by. If she insisted that Alko rest to preserve her health, Alko had no choice but to comply. The lesson was over after 2 hours, so the two finished the dinner they had prepared and decided on a change of venue for where they would spend the last hours of the day. Oh, this is a new location, I think. The sunroom was next to the drawing room in the east wing of the residence and offered a view of the beautiful grounds. The proud Konji estate's luxurious sunroom featured furnishings on par with those in the splendid drawing room. Meanwhile... It's going to be a jungle come next year's summer. The grounds outside had fallen into disrepair, neglected by the owner. Don't you have any landscaping ploys lying around, Alice? Aoko took a step into the sunroom and poured some tea. I'm sure I could find one, but it would take some effort. Playing along with the roommate's joke, Alice made to sit in the chair. Oh, those look really yummy. Just as she caught sight of the box of chocolates on the table, her lovely eyes narrowed in a frown. Oh, just as she... Okay, no, never mind. Don't be like that. Today's screw-up was half your fault, you know? Maybe the rice crackers threw us off our game, or maybe it was me being too aggressive that turned that wish into a gander, but still. We're down 6 pieces. We are? Wait, that's what you're upset about? Aoko's eyes stared intently at the box of chocolates. You could search the world and never find a finer selection of chocolates. The brand was Sixpence Songs, apparently. So what was it about the mirror you wanted to talk about? It's still in Misaki mode, right? Not mansion mode? Yes, the mansion can take care of itself for the time being. So I changed its target to Misaki City. Things have been cloudy there since yesterday. Now I know for certain that with each passing day, the forces arrayed against us grow. Oh wow. So it's like a thing to look through? There's more of those things. There's the one who was captured, and I've witnessed 2 other suspicious types. One in the city and one in the woods outside of town. Is it too much to ask that you could be wrong? Just this one? Which one is causing the biggest ruckus? The one in the woods. Okay. You want to go after it tonight? To go after it tonight? One simple suggestion that would change the course of her life forever. It was no overstatement to say that this was a roll of the dice that would decide whether she had the moxie to survive the experience of jumping out of a plane with a torn parachute. Aoko swallowed her hesitation and fear with a little tea. On the school's anniversary night, she declared that she had made up her mind, and from that time on, she would not waver. Alice welcomed her roommate's strength with the barest hint of regret. As someone who shared the same motivations as her, Alice was ultimately reassured by Aoko's resolve. Well, perhaps more pleased than reassured. All in all, it had taken the better part of a year, but finally Aoko had stepped out of Alice's shadow. The 2 partners now shared the same fate. Aoko was not the partner Alice had asked for, but a partner nonetheless. Strangers. Worlds apart. And even if eventually they would battle each other to the death using all they had inherited, it was only right they did it on equal terms. It was, at least for now, a cause for celebration over how far Aoko had come. Generous, but I'll be fine on my own tonight. The time would be better spent practicing Mesmerize a little more. The park is under your jurisdiction, so I'll put you to work when the time comes. Alice did not so much as look at Aoko. She explained her reasons, the scale of the enemy she would face that night, her plans for Aoko. For only 2 days from now, Aoko Ozaki would be reborn. Fine, whatever you say. Aoko finished her tea and stood up from her seat. I guess I'm practicing then. How did the first part go again? Be light and frail, nimble and fast. Tick-tock, tick-tock, there's no time to waste. That right? Oh, no. You're missing the quiet part. Remember the weight of the air, the tremble of one's breast. Light lags behind while shadows pull ahead. Be careful, or you may find yourself in a state of unease. Yeah, I remember now. Now if you'll excuse me. Aoko grabbed a piece of chocolate and popped it into her mouth. She waved before leaving Alice alone in silence. Alice stiffened a moment before slamming the box of chocolates shut as if it could serve to scold Aoko for snacking. That's it? That our second volume? Okay. Moving forward, 3rd volume. So it's not just Sojudo. We've got multiple things happening in between here. In between chapters 1 and 2, which I'm struggling to remember the specific events of each chapter, but that's fine. I'm sure we can use context clues, and if I don't directly say it, you guys can figure it out for yourselves, and I'll learn later. Oh, wait, what was I hearing? Was that a TikTok sound? Oh, Ohayo gozaimasu. Midnight. Oh, my god. 24 hours since last update. Running backup. Transmitting log. Commencing local scan. Running atmospheric analysis. Nitrogen nominal. Oxygen nominal. Argon nominal. Carbon dioxide nominal. 5th theoretical factor. Multiple anomalies detected. Local space-time discrepancy detected. Conclusion. Contact. Class 1 threat. Shifting perception range from subjective to objective. Shifting autonomous circuit to reserve power. Shifting diagnostic circuit to main power. Shifting view mode. IR filter inactive. I filter active. Now, it begins. Initiating combat log. Oh. Oh, Master, preserve me from harm. Is that... I was wondering if that was the chapter. Misaki City was a thickly wooded area. Urban development continued unabated, but Mother Nature still drew breath in its outskirts. Wise old trees had been turned to lumber, the leaves had begun to turn to mulch. Even though the birds who curiously tilted their heads had moved on, the verdure lived on. Verdure? A testament to its enduring strength, until the time came that the devouring light of civilization became powerful enough to encroach upon nature's mysterious domain. I like the writing in this game. It's just very nice to read, and it flows well, and I think it's nice on the ears. The outlying border between Misaki City and Misaki Hills had been left untouched. Though driven from their nests and dens here, wildlife continued to subsist even today. No longer able to return to the days before man, this was just like any other forest situated next to a town. Oh. We've heard this before. Winter had arrived in the woods, the chill cut like a razor, the icy air so thick it could reach one's bones. Exposed cheeks stiffened and wisps of breath formed swirls in the air before disappearing. It was 1 degree above freezing. The cold snap penetrated every nook and cranny of the woods, from the ground to the trees to the wildlife. Yeah, we've heard this before. The forest allowed nobody entry during the day. During the winter, it willed the animals to slumber. The still evening air felt like the stagnant breath of the lingering dead. The forest consumed the moonlight, obscuring the sight of even the closest of precipices and hastening the untimely doom of any soul unfortunate enough to become lost within. The only noises to be heard were the whisperings of the wind and the murmurings of the stream. Immortal darkness stifled any sense of life. Not the breath of an animal, much less that of a person, was drawn in this place. However, a figure in black, not of this place, skulked within. It cast the tiniest, frailest of silhouettes, like a small boat lost in a sea of fog. Its trepidatious footsteps echoed through the woods. That looks like Alice. There, exiting the veil of trees, was the unmistakable likeness of a young girl. Okay. Oh? Oh! There are more people, at least more voices. Who can they be? Who can they be? Someone and someone. Are you hungry? I'm starving. Which one should we eat? Let's eat them both. You take the left, you take the right. We must welcome them, we must entertain them. What? We don't often have guests, ogyaku. While we're at the stomach and the tibia, it's not often we get to chew the fat. The shadows in the trees laughed ominously. A hallucination? An illusion? Or perhaps something real? The shadows frolicked in time to the girl's pace. Hey, girly pop. Did you remember to rig the dice? Loaded innards they have. Nibbles around the edges they be. Just remember, don't roll the vital 6. The girl knitted her eyebrows. She heard voices and felt the presence of things that should not be. Scary enough to frighten this particular girl? As if. Her tightly pursed lips betrayed not a hint of fear. She seems inconvenienced and irritated more than anything. The girl walked of her own volition. If she had truly felt fear, her legs would be frozen. Deep within the trees, she was perfectly aware of the 2 humanoid figures stalking her through the still night air. Okay, there's no going back. We warned you. It's really hard to see these things. What are they? The girl halted her steps. The racket from the accompanying voices died in turn. The babbling brook suddenly sounded like a crackling fire. And then, across the shallow stream, something appeared that should not exist in this city, much less these woods. Oh my. Oh, hey, girly pop. Good evening. I don't suppose I could speak to your master. The girl addressed them calmly. These men with their Glasgow grins creeped toward her like 2 slugs. I see. Simple graveyard wards sent to be lookouts. My mistake. I should have entrusted this to Aoko. However, the one grinning man stood still. The other, shaking violently as if unable to contain himself any longer, turned toward the girl. Aoko still has a lot on her plate. Although you far from look the part, you seem to be on the level of a fully fledged mage. Oh? Her black outfit stirred. In her right hand, she held a vitreous cat, darker than the deepest night. Oh? The 2 Glasgow men let out a yelp of caution and incoherent fear. It was at this moment that they finally bared their intent and emotion. Sayonara okyakusama.
と一瞬
Since
だ
they will take but a moment, I offer only a goodbye. Boom. Drops it on the ground, it looks like. The two shuddered at her words. They had no mouths, nor ears or brains to begin with. For creatures like these, words were redundant. All that existed was the present. For these soulless creatures, fears and hopes were nothing more than an unimaginable future. Then what could be this feeling of foreboding they felt? The spine-chilling miracle that would rip them to pieces not moments from now.
さあ
Come then, puppets. Let us play make-believe. Uh-oh. Her song sounded like a bell echoing through the white woods. The girl's voice vanquished the frost that had gripped the trees. Then... Oh, holy hell! What are these things? Oh, are they cows? Or wait, pigs? No, wait, it's actually really hard to tell. Don't keep us waiting. It's time for Little Red Riding Hood. The curtains opened on Diddle Diddle, the banquet of the night. In confusion, one slip-mouthed man swooped toward the girl. In fear, the other fled into the woods behind him. Come on, buddy, what do you think you're doing here? The deformed humanoid darted forth, kicking up water as it rushed the girl. She already knew what this fiend was. The grinning figure had scissors for hands and a demon's heart. It was a wretch who kidnapped children, mercilessly rendering them into pieces. Tweedle? Like Tweedledee, Tweedledum? Just the idea? I thought these guys were stalking, but no, it's the Glasgow men. What the hell? The piglets bounded and rebounded like paddle balls. The stuffed animals, over 3 feet in length, jumped and weaved their way between the trees. Boom! Big scissor hands. Even with these strange creatures before him, the grinning man did not so much as blink. He raised his arms, but what emerged from his coat sleeves were not the human appendages you would expect. In their place, fiendish cleavers more than 1.5 feet in length. These appendages, which had torn so much of their prey to pieces, sliced cleanly through the flying pig's skulls. Yeah, but I bet his limbs froze in place. I bet it doesn't matter. Yeah, we're sliced perfectly in half, and then, bisected from head to tail, the pig's innards became as alligator jaws and clamped down upon the grinning man's arms. From fingertips to shoulders, they were swallowed whole. It was all it took to rob the man of control over his entire body. Another shiver of fear. These were no mere pig familiars. Immediately, he realized that these were stapler monsters disguised as mere pigs. I got him! No, I got him! Oh, but too bad Master has no words, no emotion, no interest. In the end, it doesn't really matter who did it. Oh, I don't know that song. That was Falling Down. Oh, whatever, it's fine. Not possible, not possible, not possible? Talking pigs are one thing. Even having one's arms chomped off was in the realm of occupational hazard. In an instant, the wood was enveloped in a dense wave of magical energy. Though vexing, it was still impressive. None of these facts were particularly extraordinary. These rare familiars, their bizarre attack, the sheer innate magical energy to overwhelm others. He had experience with all these things. His employer was skilled enough to achieve all of this as well. However, how long should we hold him like this? Even a blink of an eye is too long. Let's take an arm. I'll give you a good price if you'll pay me in pounds. What were they? Not vessels, not living creatures, not beings powered by magic circuits. Even though only his arms had been bitten, none of his body would move. It was nothing like being bound or weakened. This felt far more like he had become words written in a book, fated to keep to their page. Oh my god, that's a horrible feeling. I can only imagine. As the grinning figure's deformities indicated, he had overcome numerous curiosities and monstrosities. Illusions, enthrallment, compulsions, freezings, putrefactions, and even petrifications, a power granted to only the pinnacle of mystic eyes. From poisons to magecraft, he had weathered a great deal. But this was something different altogether. How strong is Alice? The penalty that bound him now was based on different principles from blood, flesh, oxygen, or heat. It was an unknown restraint that followed no rules he knew. Indeed, though it was terrifying to admit, it was as if he'd encountered something alien to everything in this world. Well, this doesn't look good. This does not look good. Fang sank into his left and right shoulders. For the first time in this form, he felt rage seethe up from inside him. The basis of all things had to be absolute. All mystics, all things bizarre, obeyed some set of laws. But these pigs ignored this, along with his dignity. After 3 days, you weaken. After 6, you drown. After half a year, you'll be a wretched skeleton. Sorry to be rude, but we'll just kill you now. Oh, that doesn't sound good. A howl. Though he had no voice, he let out an exasperated scream. What a convenient function to be able to detach your arms. What an unparalleled warrior. The talkative pigs fell into the stream. That exasperated scream was the sound of the figure tearing his arms from their sockets. Armless, he rushed the girl.
役立たず
Useless swine. I'll see you be punished later. Oh my. He may have lost his mangled arms, but not the object of his malice. These eyes are horribly freaky. A mystic eye to pierce the heart of its victim. A magic circuit designed to stop a beating heart. It was beautiful in its simplicity. At point blank range, it was the equivalent of an unavoidable shotgun blast. Oh, like a projectile. Yeah. She doesn't care. Jesus Christ, she does not care. But tragically, that eye was all he had.
Beauty up with wood and clay.
He failed to realize that her song had changed. Does she have to sing her stuff? So she, oh my god. Oh, that guy's dead. Whatever that thing was. A Glasgow man? So she still isn't strong enough that she can't, well, I don't know how strong these spells are, but she still has to say the stuff or sing something out loud for it to work, because I know you can do it without doing that. That's what, we were told that earlier in the game. Its green and verdant veins pulsed. Oaken bark covered its body, hardened sufficiently over centuries to repel even a chainsaw. On its forehead, inscribed in all manner of colors, was the word Emeth. Though judging from its misspelling, the inscription was purely decorative. Emeth? That's sick! That's so sick! It's a fucking tree mech! The Thames Troll. It also went by the moniker Falling Down, or alternatively, the Great Bridge. Admired in different forms, it was the first of 4 miracles. Oh man, we're gonna have to learn so much about the magic in this world, because this seems so hype, and it feels like it could be so hype. Thames, please take care of the other one. The giant responded to the girl's words. With roots rent deep into the earth, it raised its left arm to the heavens without moving a step. Uh-oh. This isn't good. Yep, well, that guy's gone. The other one? Elsewhere in the forest, the grinning figure who had chosen to flee the battle was running through the night forest at full speed. Record and provide a detailed description of the enemy. Those were the orders assigned to him. He poured all of his energy into escaping the forest, with which he had become so familiar. In case of emergency, the plan was for one to challenge the enemy while the other made a tactical retreat in order to report to their master. He dashed through the forest. Though gripped by fear, he was confident in his ability to perform the mission he was designed for. Nothing could catch him in these woods. Even the wolves could not track him. His bird-like legs thumped as they kicked the ground. Perhaps it was his creator's eccentric taste that dictated their form when optimizing them for running. The grinning man could reach a maximum speed of 45 miles per hour, well past the limit of any bipedal creature. After securing a distance of several miles, he turned around to confirm his safety. Is that when there was no sign of pursuit? His crescent-shaped mouth, nay, eyes, slackened in relief. And then, after facing forward once more, he looked up to lock eyes with his doom.
Bridges broken down, broken down, broken down.
Sorry, bucko. You messed with the wrong girl tonight. In the distance, he could hear the dark rhymes of Mother Goose. Countless vines extended from the ground. They formed into a monstrosity that conjured up images of an arched bridge. Something resembling a giant arm. It's gonna, boom, catch his ass. This is a pretty cool concept. I like this. Yep. Sayonara. Final report, survival unable to complete, analysis unable to complete, transmission unable to complete, ending session. Oh master, preserve me from... Crushes him. Yep, goodbye. Way to go, Alice. So I don't know what you're doing out here and why you're dealing with these things in the first place, but that's fine. And now, the moon. I think we're about done here. Well done, Thames. You can return now. Hopefully our next encounter will be more worth our time. The girl turned on her heel. The invaders who had set up shop in the woods were eliminated. She had no interest in whether they had been good or evil, nor how many victims they had claimed. The shackles of civic society held no sway over her. This was the way of a pure-blooded witch. The way of a minster. I'm gonna have to read a guide at some point. I know I will. Oh yeah, the piggies help me get this arm out of my teeth. We really shouldn't move while we're eating. We'll do a better job next time, though we're nothing but screw-ups. You owe us at least one compliment before the end. The girl let out a sigh and stepped into the stream. She removed her gloves and dipped her slender fingers into the ice water. I told you not to roll 6s, but I suppose it is the only number you can roll. There was no response to her melancholy tone. In place of the once boisterous pigs were 2 black dice, now sitting in the palm of her hand. As the girl was about to say something to the scattered remains around her, she realized something that made her put a hand to her mouth. The farewell is over. Should I have asked them if they had any last words? Her slender, pale fingers traced her lips as if reluctant to part from them. Sighing again, she calmly left the dark woods the same way she had entered. Oh man, what? That's so much. Okay, so it's multiple characters and multiple of their like daily lives or what things look like for them, and this is like... I need to know so much more about the magic in this world, holy crap. All right, the final volume of our side story here. Let us rewind to a moment in the recent past. The scene took place on a Saturday morning in early December. The third period over just before lunch, the only activity that remained before the scholastic day ended was homeroom. 2 of Class C students, Sojiro Shizuki and Hosuke Kinomi. Okay, so he is our classmate. Damn it, I'm stupid. Damn it. I just didn't recognize him. We're standing outside on the balcony overlooking the schoolyard. They were stuck waiting for their homeroom teacher, Mr. Kazuki Yamashiro, and could not leave until he arrived. Hold on, what did this say? Where is a moment? Okay, just a moment in the recent past. I thought it was going to be like... I thought it was going to be more specific, but no. Classmates are chatting idly. Class A's Tobimaru Tsukiji was killing time alongside them. The listless trio discussed their weekend plans as they leaned on the veranda's railing. You working at the Bear this weekend, Kinomi? Like hell I am. Who the hell works till Sunday? I'm going out tomorrow with some chicks from Class B. At least that was the plan. They said they're grounded or something. So in other words, you failed again. Yo! I can't command while he's down much, Shizuki. Please, even the most airheaded chicks know better than to accept an invite from your dumbass. Crash and burn all you like, but don't drag Sonoji into the fallout, will you? I don't remember if that was the voice I used for him. Somebody please correct me if it's not, but I can't remember. I'll have to go watch the other videos. Well, excuse me, your majesty. You're one to talk. Oh, I didn't mean to press B. Word to the wise, Shizuki. Tsukiji's heart is as black as they come. In his mind, he's like, you know those labels he used to separate the trash? This dude uses them to label people. You're either useful to him or you ain't. Yeah, I figured that out. Speaking of which, I know this is a bit out of the blue, but what do you think about Kinomi, Tobimaru? Well, you know how the country's going to stop collecting oversized scrap for free soon since it costs too much to dispose of? That's because of people like him. What kind of nonsense is that? Who throws out big stuff like cabinets when you can make good money off of them? The future is grab and go, you know. Just look how rad those disposable cameras you can buy at convenience stores are. It's like the times have finally caught up with my idea of consumer culture. So, Kinomi's working this weekend. What about you, Tobimaru? My time is coming, just watch. There's some business to attend to on my end. I'll be entertaining a guest of my father's, giving a tour of the city, stuff like that. Freaking rude! Don't interrupt the guy when he's talking. I was gonna say, I'm gonna be watching my kid's sister. I ain't helping out at that crappy Chinese restaurant. What about you, Sonoji? You working tomorrow? No plans, but I am going to work at the amusement park after school today. Magic Kitsy Land? Seriously? You're tougher than you look, Shizuki. I heard even the judo guys who worked there bailed. Couldn't possibly be worse than carrying boxes for X-Fed, right? FedEx, nice. Well, okay, not that bad. Damn. That a-hole Yamashiro's taking his sweet time. Look, Class B is leaving already. Looks like it. You know, I didn't want to pull this card, but we'll just have to call him. We can't let Sonoji be late for work. And as if by design, the moment Tobimaru Tsukiji stood up warily from the balcony railing, the school's PA system chime rang. Sojiro Shizuki, Class 2C, please report immediately to Mr. Yamashiro in the faculty room. I repeat, there we go. Yep. An awkward silence fell upon the three. After a long 5 seconds, Sojiro said goodbye and headed back inside. See you later, homies. Oh man, I like the trio that we got going on here. That's really fun. Nothing interesting ever happens here. Can't someone make a crop circle in the schoolyard or something? Kinomi grumbled, slouching his shoulders and succumbing to his lethargy. Stop expecting others to make life interesting. If you're bored, then make something happen yourself. Challenge Haozaki to an inter-class debate or something. Suffering ain't interesting. Scrapping with the press is asking for it. I said interesting, not terrifying. As a decent, upstanding, red-blooded male, I'd happily settle for a hot transfer student showing up. As long as she isn't boring, anyway. Maybe if she were a Hollywood producer or some Jesus Christ, man. The fantasies of these guys. Lame. If you're going that far, at least make her a babe from What the hell? This is an announcement from Mr. Yamashita. Currently occupied and unable to attend homeroom, please make your way home.
どうよこれ
The hell? Ever since Yamashita bought that new car, he's been a real punk. Maybe we'll see what sound this dime makes against the door of a new Serbia. Hold it, hotshot. Just put gum in the keyhole. Teachers get paid peanuts, man. Oh, what a guy. What a guy. The two frenemies return to the classroom, complaining all the while. Their concern for their mutual friends summoned to the faculty office, completely out of mind. But is there cause for real
納得
concern?
いきません
I don't agree. The school allows for students to hold part-time jobs. According to school regulations, a job at a workplace authorized by the school is recommended as a social experience.
そうなんだけどね
That's true, but in his case, it's a matter of going too far. What if, let's suppose you were working somewhere without permission, somewhere that might be violating the labor standards law,
困るでしょ
which he does.
彼も
That would spell trouble for both the school and for him. The volatile tension between the ruthless student council president and the easygoing modern language teacher permeated the room. Praying to be spared from the impending confrontation, the other teachers hurriedly relocated to the meeting room. By the time Mr. Yamashita noticed this, the only other person in the room was the student council president, Aoko Ozaki.
逃げたか
So she's going to bat for him? Damn. They all ran,
怖い
huh?
のは僕に押し
Why does everyone always push the scary jobs on me? They're so mean.
話の続きです
Don't change the subject, sir.
仮に彼が
If we do
指定以
suppose that
外
he's
のアル
working
バ
on,
イトを
at
して
an
いるとしたら
unauthorized workplace, doesn't that mean that the school isn't accommodating his needs?
下宿先の家
I'm
賃を
not saying that the school needs to cover his room and board, but as long as he's not
時
working
間
too
の許
much,
す限り働
his
きた
request
い
deserves due
指定
consideration.
外のアルバイトを疑う
And if you're still concerned about unauthorized workplaces, please first revise the rule that limits each student to only one. After hearing her out and realizing that there was no way she would back down, Mr. Yamashita hung his head. This was supposed to be easy. The plan was to call in a student rumored to be working multiple jobs, confirm whether the rumor was true, and if so, give him a warning and some guidance, then head to lunch with the knowledge that all was right with the world. The student council president, who was coincidentally in the faculty room at the time, had heard the entire issue and decided to call out this injustice. As far as Mr. Yamashita was concerned, she was in the right, and he was well aware of the aforementioned student situation. Personally, he would have liked to help, but among the faculty, he was just the new kid on the block. He wanted to stay on the vice principal's good side and at the very least not lose his job, as badly paid as it was.
こればかりはね
Look, this was a warning straight from the vice principal. I can't do anything more
そ
to
れでした
help.
ら
What if we compromised? What do you mean? The student council president removed a document from her bag. It was a document that had been brought up in the morning's faculty meeting, bringing a host of headaches with it.
青崎くん
That's not the... Aozaki-kun. Yes, this is
アイダ
the
協会のボランティア参加
Ida
の
or
申告
Ada
書です
Church's volunteer registration form. There were 0 applicants again this month, a fact that would certainly bother a devout Christian like the vice principal. Even this morning, he was lamenting our students' lack of faith.
そうだけ
Christian?
どどうして君が今朝の職員会議
I
の
can't
内容を
deny
知って
that,
いるか
but what
聞きたい
I'd really like to know is how you became so well informed of the content of this morning's faculty meeting. Mr. Yamashita scratched his head, but his eyes were smiling gleefully. He had figured out the student council president's objective.
魚心あれば
So I'll scratch your back and you'll scratch mine, is that it? Work conducted on the church's behalf is done on a voluntary basis, but still compensated in some form. And it's officially recognized by the school as a form of social study.
先生は
The vice principal will be overjoyed to have a participant and...
その参加希望
And
者
in the
が
event that
すで
said
に
volunteer is
他の
already
アルバイト
employed
につい
somewhere
て
else,
い
the
た
school's
場合
permission will be extended to
前例に
both.
しては
Considering
いい
the
落としどころ
precedent,
だと思い
I
ますが
find this to be a good compromise. Damn, she's good. Oh, she's good. I surrender. My bad. That's on me. I'm so sorry. There were a few students able to both raise a complaint and propose a proper solution. Perhaps it was her big sisterly disposition that made this girl so simultaneously feared, yet trusted.
その方向
All
で進む
right,
ぞ
let's try it your
う
way.
まくい
Just
くよ祈ってくれ
say a
よ
prayer for me, okay?
他力本願は
I don't like it when
嫌いです
people are overly reliant on others. If you're going to participate in this scheme, please take your part seriously, Mr. Yamashita. With a bow, the student council president turned to leave the faculty room. You're not going anywhere? I'm going to go ahead and call in Shizuki now. Look after him. What? The girl's cool eyes narrowed, unable to process what she had just heard. Her expression turned into a scowl.
いや
If we're looking for volunteers, 2 is better than 1, right? Plus, knowing that you are following up on this would give me great peace of mind.
ちょっと先生
Shut up a minute. I don't... There we go.
ああ放送室
Please put out an announcement asking for Class 2C students Sojiro Shizuki to report to Mr. Yamashita in the staff room immediately.
だからせ
No, like I was about to
い
say...
やーこれで万全だまさか頭痛の種が同時
Dang,
に消え
okay,
去
he's
るなん
got
て
some...
今日はついてる
He's kind of got it like that. You can't just push him
あけ
around.
ど青崎くん
What would I do without your kindness? Wait a second, he's not your type, is he? Oh, broadcasting room? Please add the following. The student council president is eagerly awaiting...
山城
Yamashita! Boom! Dish! Nice. So are they now working together? Is that the idea? Oh, this is an apartment. Oh, is this... Ah, we're wrapping up the chapter 1.5. Got it. The next day, a pleasant Sunday, Sojiro was awake 2 hours before the time he was supposed to meet her. After getting up, he decided to go for a leisurely jog to clear his mind, but lost among his own thoughts, his 30-minute jog turned into almost an hour. Upon realizing, he rushed home. After thoroughly racking his brain over what to wear for the occasion, he decided upon wearing his school uniform.
午前10時
10 o'clock, Misaki
Misaki
Central Park,
Higashi-ri.
East Entrance. I'll meet you there. Yesterday in the faculty room, when Naoko Ozaki had shared the time and place with him that day, she said it with such pain on her face. Maybe she was fighting a headache at the time. I don't know. I wonder if she's feeling better. Sojiro muttered, his words of concern misguided as they were. In any case, he waited for about 5 minutes, and at precisely 10 o'clock, the student council president appeared.
おはよういつものことだけど時間だけ
Punctual
は
as
ぴった
usual, I see.
ひどい顔ね
What's wrong with your face? Are you sick? No, I think I feel fine, he waved off her concern. You're wearing your school uniform.
ええ
Of course I'm wearing my uniform. This is a school activity, isn't it? A heavy weight of despondency fell upon Sojiro's shoulders. The angsting over his outfit for the previous 2 hours had been rendered meaningless, just like that. Poor guy. Oh man, are they gonna go volunteer together? The duo, clad in their school uniforms on a day off, walked by the train station. In the beginning, Ako had made efforts to give Sojiro a thorough lay of the land, but today, she only shared the bare minimum of explanations. This was partly because, surprisingly, Sojiro had become well accustomed to the town. Which restaurants were good, which shortcuts to use in a rush, and why the nearby bicycle shop was better than the department store by the station if you wanted to buy a bicycle. Things a local would know. But the other reason was that it had dawned on Aoko how the two of them conversing might look to a passerby.
話は変わるけど
On a different topic, do you mind telling me what kind of work we'll be doing today? From here on, volunteering at the church meant that the school would tolerate his multiple jobs. Sojiro had quickly agreed to the tempting offer, nodding like a bobblehead, but as was typical for him, he had failed to consider the content of the proposal.
まあそんなこと
Somehow, I just knew you had no
覚悟して
idea what we were going to be doing
あ
today.
なた
Is this your first time going to Ida
教
Church?
会なら2回目だ
Second time. The last time was because I was outside admiring the strange architecture and then a person inside gave me some free candy. He pondered with all sincerity how exactly a church worked. His contemplative posture made him appear the part of the philosopher, but after all his thinking, he concluded, I guess they start taking your money on your second visit? Such was the extent of Sojiro's concerns.
普通そういうことは
Normally,
子
the
供にし
church
か
only
しないん
gives
だけどね
candy out to children, you know? Haoko sighed at the lost little lamb.
で
So who did you end up meeting? The priest? One of the sisters?
それは
A very beautiful woman, as it
じゃあ
happens.
ゆいかさん
Oh, Sister Yuika then.
今日会った
If we see her today, you'll need to thank her. Or, then again, no need. You're doing just fine in that department anyway.
仕事の話なら
As far as work goes, it's not much different from what you've been doing at school, so it should be straightforward. And considering the church's size, there's actually not a lot of people. Ako picked up her pace as they headed for the church. Somehow, she seemed like a general invading enemy territory. It made Sojiro furrow his brows in discomfort. So they're schmooving together. Yeah, okay, this is a new location too. New location, new thing that they were doing. Ida Church had a long history. Far from the station, it was a white-painted sanctuary nestled between the business and residential districts. As far as Ako could remember, the church as she knew it now was the result of remodeling done 8 years prior. It was practically a cathedral for a town of this size. Incidentally, located next to it was the Misaki City General Hospital. From Aoko's perspective, it seemed awfully suspicious for the church to take up residence next to the location in the city where the most lives were lost. Though the only two who were aware of this opinion were her roommate, Alice Kuonji, and the priest.
青崎はこの教会
Are
に
you a regular at this place?
私
Me? Not in the
私は
slightest.
これ
My father and grandfather had a
も
long
う
history
過去
with
に
it, but
戻
if I
って
could,
改ざんしたいぐらい
I'd go back in
に
time
人
and
間
cut
も
all
な
of
い
our ties to this
こ
place.
この手伝いなんて
I had to come here every day in elementary school to help out,
小学生
and
の頃
boy,
は
did that ever
毎日
rub me the wrong way. The more Aoko spoke, the more twisted her expression became. Recalling this made her want to grab it by the proverbial collar, give it the proverbial one-arm judo back throw, smash its proverbial head into the proverbial ground, and kick the proverbial living daylights out of its defenseless proverbial torso. Such was her so-called trauma that if it were anthropomorphized, it would take more than a 5-round beating to satisfy her thirst for vengeance. Oh man, poor guy. It was in this moment as he became aware of Aoko's mood that Sojiro began to fear for his safety. Perhaps attracted by the noisy murder of crows outside the church, a woman in a nun's habit emerged from the front entrance.
失礼ですが
Oh,
どちら
hello.
のお客様でしょう
Do you have business with the church today? I'm afraid this church does not associate with criminals, so if you would be so
ご遠慮
kind.
いただいておりますので日を改める
Huh?
あるいは生き方を悔い改め
Paid for your crimes to society, you
青崎
can.
青子です
Oh, it's Aoki Aozaki. Aoko Aozaki.
青子さんでした
Aoko-san.
驚きました
What a lovely surprise. It's been such a long time since you visited.
そうですね
I suppose it
いつ
has.
もは夜に呼
I'm
ば
only
れ
ever
て
called at night to speak with a father. I suppose it's been what, close to a year since we had a face-to-face conversation?
ま
And who knows how long it'll be until the next time.
ええあなたの
Look at him.
随分と立派に
Look at
なら
him.
れた
He's so
ようで
stupid. Look at him. Look at him. Oh my god. I'm almost sad to see you grow up so fast. Your presence has become so menacing. You hardly resemble the virtuous girl I remember so well. On the surface, the two exchanged congenial greetings. Unable to read between the lines, all Sojiro could see were two good friends. He and I are this month's volunteers. For the beloved Ida Church, it would be our pleasure to be working from exactly 10 to 3, not a minute more. Well, as you know, we are reaching the end times. As you know, we are reaching the end times, but your spirit of service is welcome. The house of the Lord is open to all who might enter, even those with wickedness in their hearts. The nun flashed a smile that was equal parts elegant and cruel. Keeping up appearances aside, she seemed overjoyed to have able hands to put to work. The sister introduced herself as Yuka Suse and thanked Sojiro, who had volunteered of his own volition. Sojiro noticed that her eyes were always shut, but not wanting to be rude, especially in front of Aoko, he decided not to pry. So you're Mr. Shizuki. Your name is as calm as your countenance. It is? Well, thanks. The sister let slip a frown at Sojiro's ambivalent response to her compliment. Do not mean to cause discomfort. May I call you Sojiro instead? Whichever, either one is fine. I'd not appreciated how difficult a subject it would be. Though the sister's tone was gentle, her words seemed somewhat indifferent. She lacked sight, but she guided the two with certainty in her step. For what you two will be doing, I already know Christmas is coming up, so you want to get all of the tedious cleaning out of the way, right? That won't be a problem. Cleaning is our strong suit. It wasn't their strong suit as much as it was Sojiro's. You will be at the stove preparing the communion wafers. You will be outside, Mr. Shizuki. I will need your help cleaning the areas I can't reach. Chottomatte. Ritsuka isn't in the kitchen, is she? You can't make me go in there if she is. Is not here right now, there's no need to hold back on her account. With a dismissive wave, Aoko headed toward the door in the back of the worship hall. As she had indicated, she was quite accustomed to this church. This church does look pretty. This way, please, we will start with the storeroom. I'd like to ask you to carry the cleaning supplies. I wonder what the point of all this is. Because we're getting lots of events that are happening. I'm wondering if they're really going to tie into things that we get later. Or maybe it's just to give us context. I'm not sure. Should I clean all of the windows? Wet rag, blah, 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 blah. Thank you very much. Distrust in him, he understood that it was too soon to glean an answer from their first meeting, but then again, such answers always eluded him regardless. And began to clean the windows. The day's weather was a disappointment once again. It had not gone so far as to rain, but it was too overcast to enjoy the sun. He leaned against a tall ladder and, beginning with a window about 5 yards from the ground, quietly cleaned. Sojiro was never the kind of person to mind physical labor. In fact, if there had been a blue sky, this might have been a perfect day off to him. By the time he finished his third or fourth window, he felt very relaxed and began to whistle. Though 15 feet was an intimidating height, it provided a wonderful view at the same time. Turning toward the town gave Sojiro a clear view of the tree-topped hill that had previously caught his eye. So there really is a house in the woods. The hill in the woods just outside of town, and from here, the forest overlooking the sleepless city looks like a foreign castle. Do we have a burglar? Cat burglar? There we go. Her unkempt clothes otherwise contrasting with her kind visage, or visage. Oh, this is a different character. I thought it was Aoko. You look a little too loosey-goosey to be a thief. Wait, I know. Maybe you're the type that jumps out of people's fireplaces and gives them toys they don't need, like that one saint. You know all that guy is doing is breaking and entering, right? Oh my god. She looked to be in her late 20s. Despite the cold, she was not wearing a coat, no purse either, which is rather strange, as a woman and her purse were never far apart, not that Sojiro knew this truth quite yet. Based on the fact that none of this seemed to apply to her, one could have easily surmised that she was herself a little loosey-goosey. Few cards short of a full deck, one might also say. I got it. Are you that part-timer from Misaki High? Wow, high schoolers these days really are something. You put the pros to shame. The girl looked up in admiration at Sojiro as he stood atop his ladder. Let me help. Is there another ladder and rags? And since we're doing this anyway, why don't we just use the hose? You know, spray water all over the place, yelling and having a good time. We might get in trouble, but a little fun never hurt anybody, right? The girl let out a hearty laugh. Her smile glowed like a cactus that had sprouted legs and begun to run about. How is that? What is that analogy? Inasmuch as a running cactus could only cause trouble. There we go. As Sojiro anticipated, the girl began to clean without waiting for his approval. Who are you? Are you Ritsuka? Daylight burglary seemed pretty bold. When I saw such a cute boy working as diligently as a window wiping expert. You can't blame a girl for wanting to help out after seeing that, can you? Wiping the window next to Sojiro, the girl continued to chatter cheerfully. Although this was all kinds of suspicious, Sojiro politely followed her lead, nodding and agreeing as she spoke. Perhaps it was an instinct of camaraderie. He sensed this girl was just like him. Always getting the short end of the stick when it came to menial work. So are you from the church? Just passing by. More importantly, why are you acting like we've never met before? Don't you remember all those times we met in the shopping mall? When did that happen? All the time, silly! You work at that restaurant, Uotatsu, right? I was there several times just this week. I'm, oh, right. Hanazawa. What do you mean, oh, right? Oh, right. Did you have to come up with it? Hanazawa? Hanazawa took a quick glance at the flower bed below in the middle of her introduction, then gave him a friendly laugh. Sojiro's self-introduction, however, was his usual brand of awkward. Sojiro-san. Your name's cute in an old-fashioned kind of way. The Ju in your name means 10, right? Names with numbers in them are so Japanese, don't you think? Do you know the priest and sisters here, Eddie and Yuika? Their names sound so foreign. Yeah, pretty dark hair. Oh, so you haven't met the priest yet. Ida Church is famous for its handsome priest and beautiful sisters, you know. Living on your own, yes. Really sharp. You seem you're pretty good at guessing things about me. It's called deductive reasoning. This town doesn't have much to do for fun. Certainly not enough that a kid like you would need to work this much. Normally, you just need one job to cover spending money. You don't seem like the materialistic type either. Which leaves living expenses as the only wholesome reason for working this hard, right? Okay, so who are you and what do you want? Are you a mage? Don't they say he who does not work doesn't eat? You're pretty mature for your age. Completely absorbed in work when I was a student, lived by yourself as well. Yeah, I studied abroad over my parents' objections. I went to the same school as a friend and we roomed together to save money, but food wasn't free, as you know. That said, I'm the kind of person who doesn't mind a bit of elbow grease. Looking back on it now, my time at school and work was a great memory. Sojiro nodded agreeably. Dignified or not, he could barely hold back the sense of solidarity that was welling up within him. Well, since this might be fate, I'll probably be seeing more of you at Uotatsu from here on out. Come see me if you need someone to talk to. I can't promise that'll be much help, but I'll do my best impression of a sounding board. Thank you, I appreciate it. Maybe you can help me out right now. What do they actually do here? As Sojiro said here, he pointed at the church. What do you mean? Unaware of Sojiro's provincial background, combined with her quick-witted nature, Hanazawa seemingly mistook his question for some kind of sophisticated wit. Good question. I guess people treat it as a spiritual sanctuary? Is that the right word for it? No, maybe not sanctuary, more like a shield or a place that plugs leaks in your mind. It's basically a way for people to avoid getting better. Jesus Christ. Oh, and they give out free bread and wine for free? Rich people just donate a bunch of money. Oh yeah, one more thing, and this is the most important wrinkle. Their income is intact. Saving souls is tough work, but it's zero risk, high reward if you got a solid business plan. I don't really follow, but are you saying that it's a good place to come when you're in trouble? Wouldn't recommend that. I think it'd be better to visit once a month or so. Just for a little peace of mind, like a mage would. The rags squeaked as the two carefree souls continued to wipe down the windows. Whistling as they went, they shined up one window, then another, then another. One more question, what are those woods way over there? On the mountain? Really more of a hill than a mountain. Sojiro's pride would not allow for a mountain of dirt to be called a mountain. Any incline that takes energy to climb is a mountain in my book, but if you say so, it was as if a shadow fell over her till now sunny disposition. She was undoubtedly a beautiful woman with very lovely features, but as Sojiro looked at her in that moment, her smile melted away and he saw how disturbed she was at his comment. And when it comes down to it, it's definitely a hill. Oh, and what about that thing that looks like a chimney? Sojiro was not one to closely watch people's reactions and fuss over his speech. Looks like one because it is one. That forest is all private property and a huge mansion sits right in the middle of it. None of the locals really know anything about it because they're not allowed in there. People call it the Konji Haunted Mansion. The locals are all spooked by it, so it's probably best that you keep your distance. For a tiny wooded area, there have been all kinds of freaky stories about the place. Weird accidents, wild dog sightings, you name it. You get wild dogs here in the city too? Lots of them. There are even some in the empty lot behind the church. The priest here is a bit eccentric, and one time he gave them some bread and the pups made the area part of their patrol route. Anyway, don't go up there. You know what they say about idiots in high places. It's something of an unspoken rule around here to stay out. For one thing, it's private property. If you trespass, someone's going to call the cops and then you're going to spend the rest of the day getting grilled at the station. It's definitely not fun. I'm all good. Sojiro nodded along to her story as he stared at the far-off chimney from his vantage point on the ladder. A teeny tiny part of him was curious about that hill because it reminded him of the woods where he grew up. But after reminding himself that it was none of his business, he returned to the window washing. Thanks to Hanazawa lending a hand, they were able to finish the job without a hitch. Between the two of them, they had accomplished a simple but very time-consuming task. Nice work. I hardly recognize these windows considering how filthy they were before. Why don't we head to a cafe somewhere and get something to drink? I'll treat you as a reward for all your... Oh. You're in the middle of saying something. Oh, sorry, I just remembered some urgent business I need to attend to. Catch you. Ciao. So... I don't know, she might be a maid. She seems pretty head empty, and I love head empty characters. Turned around, he was only able to catch a glimpse of the girl's figure dashing toward the street at lightning speed. It was just before 3 o'clock. More than 3 hours had passed since Hanazawa offered to help. Oh my god, 3 hours. Watched a girl with many strange faces disappear. For someone who seemed to have been on an aimless walk, Hanazawa had spent a good deal of time with him. Maybe helping Sojiro out reminded her of something she needed to do.
しずきくん
You out there?
声かけてごめん
Don't mind me, you do your thing. The sight of Sojiro putting away a ladder taller than himself seemed to have provoked an emotional response in Aoko. Then in an instant, she rolled up her sleeves and began to approach him. This surprised him more than Aoko's sudden appearance. Ignoring Sojiro's bewilderment, Aoko promptly began issuing
はしご
orders.
横に倒していいわよ
Oh, they're gonna help each other, okay. Ria to insist that he could do it by himself. Excuse me. Spent the whole day together. Well, not really together, but... With work finished and the sisters' thank you gifts in hand, the two put the church behind them. Since Aoko apparently had something to do around the station, they decided they would walk together until they got there.
でも本当に
You're a
アルバイ
really
ト慣
hard
れしたの
worker.
ね
Beneath the orange-tinged sky, Aoko spoke more as though she was expressing her thoughts out loud than striking up a
そう
conversation.
か
Really?
Aozaki-
Coming from you, Aozaki, that's really nice to hear. Sojiro gave her an earnest smile. But then again, he'd been beaming ever since he received his pay, so the source of his joy was not so clear. Not so fast. You still got a ways to go, Buster. Buster! Yeah, bucko! So don't get too carried away, you're only just breaking even if that. You're not going to get on my back about school, are you? That'll really spoil my mood. Sojiro hung his head dejectedly. Even if his job had been going well, school was still a bust. Exams were one thing, but even classwork was something he had found himself falling behind in.
青崎は成績悪いやつ
Why do you hate people with bad grades, Aozaki? Well, dealing with lame brains is certainly
まあ
tiring, but that's
頭という
beside the
か
point in your
巡りの
case.
悪い人との
And don't let
話
this
は
get to
使
your
わない
head.
でしょ
We're not friends, okay? It's a teacher's job to figure out how to help students overcome handicaps, and it's your job to follow through on that help. Having a job is fine with me, but make sure you study properly when you get home.
それはもちろん
Alright.
ならいいけど
Did you just say everyone is good people? Aoko cocked her head to one side, unsure how this exchange had resulted in that response. She decided to interpret it as Sojiro simply expressing his gratitude in his own peculiar way.
ところで
One more
参考まで
thing,
に
I need to
聞く
know
ん
what
だ
other
けど
kinds of jobs you're working, in case it comes
どこ
up.
って商店街が多
You're
い
asking where I work at a lot of places in the shopping district, the fish shop, the flower shop, and so on. Oh, but yesterday I went over to the next town. I worked a ship. Oh my god, at the amusement park. Oh no. This is except for the decidedly unexpected last
遊
part.
園地って
You don't mean the one in Yashirogi, do you? That's the one. I disassembled and moved unused signs and curios and stuff. It was exhausting. Took a lot out of you. This left Aoko rather impressed. Transporting unused amusement park machinery is not a job that students did willingly in their free time.
でもいいな
I'm a bit jealous. I've never even been to Kitsuland, even though it's so close to here. Aoko looked up in the direction of the neighboring town. From here, you could just barely make out the Ferris wheel. The round steel frame with a wheel, illuminated by the sunset as it was reminiscent of an old gravestone.
そうか
That's a shame. Is it because you're short on cash? Nice. Is it because you're poor, Lamau? She knew it would be rude to Sojiro to burst out laughing, but the remark tickled her funny bone. No, it's not like that. It's simple, really. Even back when it first opened, it was always packed with people, and I just never had the time to
お
go.
金で解決する問題だ
If
か
it were
ら
a problem that could be
それこそ
solved with
今すぐ
money, I would go right now. Aoko showed Sojiro the envelope that contained the pay from the church. There was nothing sinister about her remark and gesture, but the fact that she did not jump at the chance to go made Sojiro sad.
それなら
And why don't we go sometime?
ありがとうけどそれは無理な話
Thanks, but no can do. You probably didn't catch on because you are who you are, but the place went out of
廃園
business.
になってからね
Oh, 2 years since the park closed down. Damn it, we're not getting our amusement park date. Damn. It was no wonder there were no customers all the time he was there. Exasperated as she was at Sojiro, the student council president seemed to be enjoying herself. At this point, she would be yelling things at Sojiro like, I can't believe you didn't know that. But this evening, this one and only evening, she found it charming. Cute. Are we back? They parted ways. Study before you work. The major cultural difference, though certainly not the only point of difference between city and country, was the use of time. It did not matter what part of the city he was in. Time flowed far too quickly here. Amen. Failing to squeeze even a drop of knowledge from his textbooks, he put them away for the day before heading into town. All right, it's nighttime now. Supposedly dangerous. The night grew deeper as today turned into tomorrow. Sojiro reversed his collar to protect his neck from the bitter cold and began to make his way back home. Not a soul to be seen. No dogs scrounging for food, no late night shoppers. Why would there be? The solitary convenience store in the area closed at 11 o'clock. Whoa, drip! 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 Look at this man! Oh my goodness! He mustered what little energy he had to take in a especially deep breath. Man-made landmarks lined the deserted street, and garish blue fluorescent light, brighter than the stars above, illuminated the darkness. An unconscious sense of anxiety stirred within him. Get yourself together. It's normal for the night to be scary. A chill crept up his spine as he attempted to mask his weakness with words. Stay out of the dark, stay away from the deserted places, whether it was for some deeper reason or perhaps the fact that he looked so helpless. Everybody he had met in his life seemed to warn him with those words. Did knowing that ever help anyone? What'd that even mean, stay out of the dark? Nowhere in the city was without light. Everywhere, from the bustling train station to the remote residential areas, was illuminated by an artificial light, not least the main roads. Scary was scary, but this kind of fear was of a different sort than what he'd felt in the mountains. The most likely source of his fear was the fact that this place was governed by starkly different rules. The way in which the city meted out justice was terribly imbalanced. And to the provincial Sojiro, his lack of familiarity with the laws of the land terrified him far more than the dark. In the mountains, retribution came swiftly to those who broke the rules. Take a game trail, for example. Those who unwittingly trespassed on the animal kingdom's domain would, as a matter of course, be savaged by the native wildlife. Accordingly, in Sojiro's mind, an offender paid the price for one's mistakes immediately. It's not a matter of who punished whom, but simply that the one who broke the rules would meet instant, tangible retribution. He felt that in this regard, the laws of the city were far too ambiguous. One could meet their demise without ever knowing whether one was in the right or wrong. Well, I guess it's probably not that different when it comes down to it. To put it simply, retribution was delayed. To take the analogy a step further, back home in his village, no one individual had been given the responsibility of maintaining order. In the city, however, someone was put in charge of punishing lawbreakers on behalf of the kind-hearted citizens who lived there. While crime and punishment in the mountains were synonymous, in the city the two were separated, and an unrelated person brought judgment after the crime had been committed. Entering places that must not be entered, seeing things that must not be seen, breaking a law had consequences. Someone would come to exact justice for the law that was broken. The result of all this was that the safest way to survive the city was not to stick your nose in the affairs of others. Mind your own business. When the people who cared about Sojiro told him to stay away, they probably meant if you don't, nobody will be able to help you. Oh crap, I almost took another shortcut. No matter how much of a nuisance these obstacles were, one could not just climb over a neighbor's fence. Even when one's apartment was just the other side. If the people inside happened to be awake and called the police, nobody would lift a hand to help him. Yeah, man, you gotta walk like a normal person into like normal spaces. Peak male living space, here it is. With this misguided view of the city, Sojiro once again ended his day in peace. Unable to fall asleep right away, he gazed out his window upon the night sky from the floor of his apartment. The cityscape had caused him to tremble in fear when he first moved here. The convenience of solving almost any problem with the flip of a switch. The novelty of living a wall away from a complete stranger. It all disappeared into the night sky when he looked up. Is this really the same sky? Unconsciously, he recalled his own words. What dim stars? What a cramped sky. Here, there were no starry nights. Could he even survive here? The same misgiving since his first night continued to haunt him. His eyelids fell shut. Although he was fraught with worry, Sojiro's body felt the fatigue from his work and studies, and thus, he fell fast asleep. I think that should be it. Hell yeah. That is all the time that we have for today, guys. Man, that was interesting. We got some context, some personality stuff, new characters introduced. I'm interested. Next time, we will be starting chapter 5, I believe. So, I hope you guys enjoyed that. I definitely did, and I will see you guys in the next video. So for now, have a good rest of your day, and I will see you soon. Bye!